Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we have done till trauma and stressor related disorder. As we are doing the disorders, so we have done anxiety disorders. We have also done obsessive and compulsive disorder. And third one, we have done trauma and stressor related disorder. Now the next one is somatic symptom and related disorder. First of all, first of all, just understand the meaning of somatic. Somatic has been derived from the word soma, and soma means your body, right? So they are saying that somatic symptom and related disorder. So what are the conditions prevails in this kind of disorder? In this, there are conditions in which there are physical symptoms in the absence of a physical disease. Getting the point that persons, the people who are going through this disorder, they often complain, they often give physical symptoms of diseases, but in reality, there is no such physical disease. Or you can say there is no real biological cause. It is all illogical, it is all unreal, based upon their own fake thinking, right? So basically, the meaning is clear that physical symptoms are there, but in the absence of a physical disease, or you can say in the absence of any biological cause, right? Now, there are three kinds of disorders under this category. The first one is somatic symptom disorder. What is happening in this disorder? It involves a person having persistent body related symptoms which may or may not be related to any serious medical condition. Now, children, just you all have noticed that earlier they were saying that there is no physical disease, but now they are saying that it is a person having persistent body related symptoms which may or may not be related to any serious medical condition. So in a way, they are saying that there could be some medical cause also. There could be some biological cause also. So to make it more clear, somatic symptom disorder mein what is happening, that person is consistently or continuously complaining of body related symptoms, and which may be or may not be related to any medical condition. But ho kya raha hai, what person are saying, they are exaggerating, they are just highlighting it too much. Maybe they are having a very minor kind of stomach ache, suppose, let's take an example, but the person start pretending, start making its own stories that maybe I am suffering from a stomach cancer. There must be some serious ailment going inside my body. So there is a very minor cause, and that is also not always possible. There could be a minor ailment, there could not be. Both the things are there. But the person is exaggerating too much, highlighting too much, dramatizing it too much, and giving all kind of symptoms. First of all, he just collect the information on net that what are the symptoms of stomach cancer. Let's take an example. And then he start complaining, I am having this symptom. I'm suffering from these kinds of exactly from these symptoms. So surely I am having this disease, right? So persistent body related symptoms are there. As a result, they make frequent visits to doctors, and they experience significant distress and disturbances in their daily life. Obviously, if a person is having persistent body related symptoms which are not real, so it is creating lot of disturbance in their life, lot of distress in their life, lot of disturbance in their life, and they visit doctors also to prove their point, to get a valid reason from the doctors, just to make the doctor also realize the thing that yes, I am suffering from stomach cancer. So they just make frequent visits to the doctor. Now, second kind of disorder under the same category is illness anxiety disorder. There is a basic difference between somatic symptom disorder and this illness anxiety disorder. I'll just explain it to you. Illness anxiety में what is happening? It involves persistent preoccupation about developing a serious illness and constantly worrying about this possibility. Got the difference? Yes. In somatic, the person says that I'm having this thing, surely, with full confidence, and I'm suffering from these symptoms. I'm suffering from this kind of disease. There, in somatic symptom disorder. But in illness anxiety disorder, what is happening? A person is persistent, preoccupied about developing. He is just anticipating in this disorder. He is just imagining, or he is just creating his own world that I'll be suffering from this disorder in the coming future, right? I'll be developing these kind of symptoms related to this dreadful disease in my near future. So constantly he is worrying about the possibility. Constantly he is preoccupied about developing this disease. So this is accompanied by obviously anxiety, stress, and it is somewhere disturbing his daily routine, his daily life. Now, in general, both somatic symptom disorders and illness anxiety disorder are concerned with what? Medical illnesses. Both are having medical illness, but the difference is in the way they are showing this concern. In somatic symptom disorder, this expression is in the form of physical complaints, that I am having these kind of physical symptoms and complaints. And in the case of illness anxiety disorder, as name is suggesting, the person is just anticipating and suffering from the anxiety of developing it in near future, right? The third disorder under the same category is conversion disorder. Now, what is this? Conversion disorders are the reported loss of part or all of some basic body functions. In conversion disorder, a reported loss is there. Either some part or fully a basic body function is vanished all of a sudden. A person may start complaining that a paralysis attack was there, or he may report suddenly that I am not able to see. My vision is lost, or I am not able to hear, or I am having difficulty in walking. I cannot walk normally. So all of a sudden these symptoms occurred in a person, and the person really behave in a manner as if he is not able to see anything. So it is very shocking, and it is very surprising for us. How could it be possible? Suppose occipital lobes are responsible for vision, and lobes are very normally working, right? There is no problem. Still that person reports that I am unable to see. But these things really happens because they are too much preoccupied. Their mind is so much disturbed by stress or a very traumatic experience they have encountered in their personal life. So psychologically, we talked about, you people remember in the first chapter in class 11, understanding mind and behavior, right? So our mind somewhere has been injured by these traumatic experience to a very great extent, and persons start developing these kind of disorders. That is why this is called a disorder, right? So person can report a loss of part or all of some basic body functions. And these symptoms often occur after a stressful experience. Yes, these are the result of what? Some traumatic, some stressful experience, and it is quite sudden. Today, the person is behaving in a very normal manner, and all of a sudden tomorrow or itself in today evening, the person start behaving in a very abnormal manner. You all understand, keep this in mind, that these are the result of a very stressful or traumatic experience which has happened in a person's life, right? This is all about the three disorders which comes under the category somatic symptom and related disorder. Now come upon the next one, which is known as dissociative disorder. Now, dissociative, as name is suggesting, all you can understand that dissociative means there is a disassociation. There is no association between the imagination and between the real life. So what are the common symptoms of, you can say, what are the common features or characteristics of this disorder? People start developing, they just depersonalize themselves. They believe in the feelings of unreality, or there is a loss, completely loss or shift of their true identity. Try to get these points, try to understand. Depersonalization, वो जो है हकीकत में, रियलिटी में, उसके अलावा he start imagining himself of some other personality. There is a loss or shift of identity all of a sudden, and feelings of unreality are there. Now again, there are three kinds of disorders under the same category. The first is dissociative amnesia. Amnesia, do remember children, it is always related to memory, right? So what is the prime most characteristic of this disorder? It is characterized by extensive but selective memory loss that has no known organic cause. Just read one by one, word to word, to understand the meaning. There are very basic and very minute differences between these disorders. Sorry. In dissociative amnesia, extensive but selective memory loss is there, and that is also no organic cause is there. Extensive means very large, but still selective. How to elaborate it? Like the person could, fail to recall specific events, specific people, specific places or objects, while their memory for other events remains intact. Are you understanding? Suppose a person just forget about his teenage life completely. What he was doing, what were the memories of, what were the experiences of his teenage life, of his adolescent years. But he still remembers his childhood memories, he still remembers his adulthood memories. So maybe some traumatic experience was there during his adolescent years. So he want to just forget it in a way. So this is dissociative amnesia, extensive but selective memory loss is there, and again no known organic cause is there. Organic cause क्या हो सकता है? कोई head injury हो सकती है, but in reality the person hasn't any head injury, but still he is developing these kind of symptoms, right? Dissociative fugue, another part of dissociative amnesia. Under this term, what you're going to explain, this is characterized by that there is an unexpected travel away from home and workplace, the assumption of a new identity, and the inability to recall the previous identity. Under this term, under this disorder, what happens? A person suddenly decide to just get away from the situation, just get, just to escape from the situation, and generally what he does, he just travel away. He just leave that place. It could be his home also, it could be his workplace also. Wherever he is feeling distressed too much, he just leave that place all of a sudden and he just travel away. You must have heard the cases in newspaper, in news, that a boy or a girl has just left his home and just traveled. And when some persons on stations asked, where are you going, from where you have come, the person is totally lost. He has no answer that who is he, from where he has come, why he is standing on this railway platform, where he is going. Now, if someone asks where you want to go, you have to buy the ticket. So he doesn't know. He doesn't have any answer that I want to take the ticket for this destination. So that means he's completely lost. He doesn't know about his personal identity, his previous identity. Now, what is the important or very interesting part of this phase? It usually ends when the person suddenly wakes up with no memory of the events that occurred during this trip, right? Are you getting the thing? That if suddenly he wake up, जैसे नींद में से उठ जाते हैं एकदम से, तो suddenly the person wakes up and person asks, why I'm standing here? What I'm doing on this railway platform? Huh? Where is my house? Why I left? I just left my house. He doesn't know the answers. He doesn't know why he has done all these things. So he suddenly wakes up and he just went to his previous place. Suddenly memorize, recall his previous identity. So it's a very interesting thing. You have to write both the things in this. This is all about dissociative amnesia. The second one is dissociative identity disorder, which is often known as a very famous name, multiple personality, right? Which you always used to see in Bollywood movies. Multiple personality, why it is called? Because it is very famous term nowadays using, and it is the most dramatic of the dissociative disorder. It is often associated with traumatic experiences in childhood. And in this disorder, the person assumes alternate personalities that may or may not be aware of each other. Multiple personality, as we can get the idea, one person is there, but multiple personalities are there. Multiple personalities means what? A person could be shy and reserved at one point and could be very extrovert, very talkative, very social on the other time, right? So there is a variation, and they are saying that the person could be aware also of these personalities, or he could be unaware also, right? And why it is happening? Mainly some traumatic experience has been taken place in their childhood years. So these are small features. That is most dramatic one. It is also known as multiple personality. It happens because of traumatic experiences in childhood, and the person assumes alternate personalities that may or may not be aware of each other. देखा है बॉलीवुड मूवीज में दिखाते हैं ना, दिन में तो कुछ और होते हैं, रात में कुछ और बन जाते हैं, राइट? घर पर कुछ और होते हैं, वर्क प्लेस पे या बाहर जाते ही सोसाइटी में अलग जगहों पे जाते ही they all suddenly start behaving in different manner. So this is all about dissociative identity disorder. What is the third one? Depersonalization or derealization disorder. There is an oblique given, so you can use both the terms. Depersonalization or derealization. What does it mean? It involves a dreamlike state in which the person has a sense of being separated both two important things are there, that this is a dreamlike situation, right? A person is having a very good dream, as if a dream is going on, and he has a sense that he has been separated. He knows I am not behaving in my true identity. As a person, I'm like this. He is aware, but still he don't want to accept it. So he just want to be in that dreamlike state. Getting my point? In depersonalization, there is a change of self-perception, and the person's sense of reality is temporarily lost or changed. Now again, next thing happens. Depersonalization में क्या होता है? There is a change of self-perception. Earlier person is having a perception about himself. Let's say that I'm very intelligent, right? I'm very brilliant. And all of a sudden, self-perception changed that I'm not at all worthful. I cannot do things. I'm not capable of doing things. I'm a failure, right? So all of a sudden, there is a change of self-perception, and person's sense of reality is temporarily lost or changed. Temporarily, why they have used the word? Because after a certain period of time, the person again start gaining his real self-perception. So these are temporary things which happen in a person's or an individual's life. So this was all about the three disorders which comes under which category? Dissociative disorders, right? The next one is depressive disorders. Now, when we talk about depression, let us just first start with the word. It covers a variety of negative moods. Depression is always related to negative moods and behavioral changes. So, depression can refer to a symptom or a disorder which are generally negative. Yes. Now, there is a term given in your book, page number 79, major depressive disorder. This is defined as a period of depressed mood or loss of interest or pleasure in most activities, together with other symptoms which may include change in body weight, constant sleep problems, tiredness, inability to think clearly, agitation, greatly slowed behavior, and thoughts of death and suicide. Got the point? There are various symptoms given, and these are basically the symptoms of major depressive disorder. Depression is a name, and under this, a name of disorder has been given, major depressive. As we are getting, major means it is of intense. The intensity is very high. Intensity of depression is very high, and these were the symptoms which I just named. That there are physical changes also, there is a change in behavior also, and there are lot of symptoms, and they are usually negative. Other symptoms include excessive guilt or feelings of worthlessness, right? So these also you can give under the symptoms of major depressive disorder. Only one disorder you have to explain under depressive disorder, right? Now the next heading is under the same, factors predisposing towards depression. Now let us find what are the factors responsible to make a person depressive. They are saying that genetic makeup or heredity is an important risk factor for major depression and other depressive disorders. So they are saying this thing that there is somewhere genetic or hereditary factors are there. You are carrying it from your parents, from your grandparents, or from anyone in your family related to your blood relations. So it is depending also on genetic makeup or heredity, right? Second risk factor is age. For instance, women are particularly at risk during young adulthood, while for man, it is basically seen in early middle age. So age is also somewhere responsible that during this phase of your life, persons are more vulnerable towards depression. The third one is gender. Gender also plays a great role. Why? That they are saying women in comparison to men are more likely to report a depressive disorder. And other risk factors are what? Experiencing negative life events and lack of social support. So these were all the risk factors. First one was genetic or heredity. Second one was age. Third one was gender. Fourth one was negative experiences in your life and lack of social support. These all were the factors related to depressive disorder, right? Now let's come upon the next disorder, bipolar and related disorders. See children, just try to understand this disorder by the name bipolar. Means two poles are there. Bi, you already know the meaning, right? As binocular cues were there in 11th standard, you remember? Same manner, bipolar, two poles are there. Now two poles means two kind of moods are there in this disorder. You all know, you all have read about it or heard about it. Manic depressive. Earlier this disorder, yes, do remember this thing, that bipolar and related disorders were earlier termed as manic depressive disorder. Now it has changed to bipolar. Why it is called manic depressive? Manic, you all understand the mania in which hyperactivity is there or hyper experiencing of any emotion, right? A person become euphoric. A person become out of control. He become extremely happy. So one side Manic is there, and other side depressive is there. We just studied about depression. So एक तरफ तो person is very extremely happy, euphoric, and at the other side he suddenly become very depressive, very low, silent, low energy, no activity, right? Isolated. So two kind of contradictory and opposite moods are there. And earlier it was known as manic depressive disorder. Now to remember, important point is some examples of types of bipolar and related disorders are what? You don't have to describe them as it is not described in book also. Just name them. Bipolar first disorder. Second one is bipolar second disorder. And third example is cyclothymic disorder. You just have to write the names. If you can see on page number 80, first column, third paragraph. Some examples are given of bipolar and related disorder. So first is bipolar first, second is bipolar second, and third one is cyclothymic disorder. Right? Now, under the same disorder, you're going to explain about suicide also, that why people commit suicide, or what is the meaning of suicide, what are certain risk factors, how can we prevent such persons. So this is very general. So first let us start that every suicide is a misfortune. Yes, suicide takes place throughout the lifespan, and it is a result of what? Many things are there. Complex interface of biological, genetic, psychological, sociological, cultural, and environmental factors. What they are saying, that if a person commits suicide, there are many factors operating all together. Yes, it is related to their biological makeup, their genetic makeup. It is related to their psychological and sociological perspectives. It is related to his cultural and environment. You all agree with all these things? So we can just describe about suicide a little. A very brief introduction is required. Now, some other risk factors are having. There are other risk factors also. What are those? That a person might be suffering from any mental disorder. Maybe he is suffering from depression, or maybe he is suffering from alcohol use, substance abuse. Maybe the person is alcoholic and he is suffering from this alcohol use disorder. What are the other risk factors? Maybe he is going through some natural, maybe he has gone through some natural disaster, or experiencing violence, abuse, or loss, and isolation at any stage of life. This is a very important factor, isolation. Previous suicidal attempt is the strongest risk factor. We all, these are all the risk factors we are talking about. They are saying that previous suicidal attempt, a person who has earlier also attempted suicide, this is also a very important risk factor, that there is a probability of doing suicide by that person again during any phase of his life, right? So first of all, we just give a brief introduction, then we'll just give the risk factors which are responsible for suicide. Now let's come upon what are the things which we have to identify. Therefore, improving identification, referral, and management of behavior for preventing suicide. What does it mean? Let us now move into some positive direction of preventing all these misfortunes. If we are able to identify the symptoms of a person, if we are able to improve or manage their behavior in some manner, right? As a very vigilant classmate, or as a very vigilant family member, or as a very vigilant citizen of the country, if we are able to identify the symptoms, if we are able to manage certain behaviors, we can prevent many suicides, right? Therefore, some measures have been given by whom? By WHO. World Health Organization have suggested, it has given some measures how to control it, because suicides are preventable. You remember, suicides are preventable. Preventable means that we can prevent this kind of thing. So there is a need for comprehensive multi-sectoral approach. What does it mean? In which various sectors are operating. What are the names of those sectors? It could be the government, it could be the media, and it could be the civil society, right? All these three sectors are playing a very important role in preventing suicide. Now, WHO has given some measures. What are those measures? Let us make a reading. Limiting access to the means of suicide. You have to limit the access to the means of suicide. There are various means. Suppose on medical stores, there should be an interrogation before giving the medicines. If some person comes at a medical store and asks the chemist to give the sleeping tablets, right, or any other tablet which is not good for his health in some manner. Sleeping tablets are good for those people who are having some problem, who are having some sleep disturbances. So there should be some kind of interrogation. There's kind of some types of questioning should be there before, or a prescription has to be shown to the chemist. So we have to limit the access to the means of suicide. Second one, reporting of suicide by media in a responsible manner. What media is doing nowadays, they always put some mirch masala, right? They make it very spicy. People somewhere, feel very unconsciously, people start enjoying these kind of misfortunes. So media has to play a very important and responsible role. Bringing in alcohol related policies should be there related to alcohol. Early identification, treatment, and care of people. Training health workers in assessing and managing for suicide. Various health workers should be trained to deal with this situation. And care for people who attempted suicide and providing community support. So all these measures have been given by WHO. We still remain with some topics. Ma'am, you can stop the recording.